Recording in progress.
Colleagues, could you take your seats, please? Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to those I know have been traveling. I hope everyone has been enjoying some fun this summer because we're going to get back to work in September. And as of course, there'll be a lot for us to do on the city council. So in addition to the folks here in the chamber this evening, we have online Councilors Danberg, Grossman, Krinsman, and Kalis. We're going to start off with we are being both audio and video taped, of course, as a regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council. We're going to start off in just a moment with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilor Baker. We're then going to do reports on first call. We have 3 commendations to give out this evening to our student scholarship winners. I'm going to invite Councilors Humphrey and Greenberg to join me on the podium when we present the awards. 2 of our awardees are here this evening. I'm also going to ask Jack Lovett, who, as many of you know, works for the city and is a former recipient, to join us as well. We'll honor our recipients. They'll say a word or two, and then we will vote on first call items and immediately proceed to the only item that's on second call this evening. So with that, Councilor Baker, would you lead us in the pledge?
Thank you, Mr. President. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Councilor Kelly, would you present the land use report?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Land Use Committee report starts on page 164. However, I'm going to start on page 165 because the first few items were held. The first one to report is number 276-24, which was a request to allow garage exceeding 700 square feet at 102 Gordon Road. That was approved. Number 277-24, a request to increase non-conforming FAR, et cetera, at 62 Lenox Street. That was also approved. On to page 166, item 257-24, a request to amend a special permit to allow for changes to the approved site plan at 1188 Chestnut Street. That was approved. Number 289-24, which was a request to further extend non-conforming FAR at 29 Trowbridge Ave, was approved. Number 290-24, request to vertically extend non-conforming front setbacks at 224 Adams Ave. That was approved. Almost done. Number 291-24, request to allow dormer exceeding 50%, et cetera, at 44 Erie Ave. That was approved. And finally, number 292-24, a request to alter and extend non-conforming setbacks at 15 Brayland Ave was approved. And I would like to assign some public hearings.
Go ahead, please, Chair Kelly.
Thank you. I'd like to assign public hearings for August 27th for items number 296-24, number 298-24, number 299-24, number 300-24, all on page 175, and item 301-24 on page 176, again, all for August 27th. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Kelly. Chair Baker for the Zoning and Planning Committee, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee report begins on page 167, and the following items were approved. First, the appointment of David Boronque to the Newton Upper Falls Historic District Commission. Also, the appointment of Ed Olheva to the Community Preservation Committee. The appointment of Timothy LeBlanc to the Newtonville Historic District Commission. The appointment of Nancy Greenberg to the Chestnut Hill Historic District Commission. And the item 76-24-3, discussion and possible amendments to change how building height is measured. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Baker. Next, for Programs and Services Committee, Counselor Krinsman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Programs and Services Committee report begins on page 169. First item is on page 170. Committee met on July 10th. First item is item 272-24. This was a request for a salary increase for the city clerk / clerk of the council. Programs and Services approved that item as amended to change the salary to $138,776. Committee approved that item unanimously. Item 280-24, the appointment of Joan Bell Isle to the Council on Aging was approved unanimously by a vote of 7-0. Item 282-20, by a vote of 7-0. Item 283-24, the reappointment of Lucille Chansky to the Commission on Disability was approved by a vote of 7-0. Item 284-24, the appointment of Nathan Persempieri to the Commission on Disability was approved by a vote of 6-0. And the last item was held. With that, I would move the report.
Thank you, Chair Krinsman. Chair Grossman for the Public Safety and Transportation Committee, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The report begins on page 171, and the committee met on August 7th. We discussed one item, which was 201-24, requesting a policy discussion, review, and possible action related to parking on street and in municipal lots. That was held, but we did have a great discussion with David Kozis to review all of the various types of parking permit programs that we have throughout the city right now. And we will continue discussing this matter in future PS&T meetings. And with that, I move the report.
Thank you, Chair Grossman. Chair Albright for the Public Facilities Committee, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Public Facilities Committee report starts on page 171. And 105-24 was a discussion with Sustainable Materials Management regarding recycling and waste management. And we voted no action necessary, and not because there was no action necessary in this area, but because it was just a report. And it was a fabulous report. I recommend that everybody listen to her report from that meeting. But there was no action item, so that we voted no action necessary, and it was a vote of 6-0. 259-24 was a request for drain extension in Edgefield Road. The petitioner to pay the entire cost, and that was approved 7-0. 263-24 is to appropriate $31,578,632 for the construction of the Horace Mann project. That was approved by the Public Facilities Committee 7-0. 268-24 was the 558 review for the Horace Mann building on 225 Nevada Street, and that was also approved 7-0. The next item that was voted on was 279-24, with request for a sewer extension in Dedham Street, and that was approved 7-0. 281-24 was the reappointment of Jay Snyder to the Citizens Commission on Energy. That was approved 6-0, and the last item was held.
Thank you, Chair Albright. Chair Gentile for the Finance Committee, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to start by requesting a suspension of the rules in order to report out two items that were discussed earlier this evening and for which there is no written report.
So the chair has requested a suspension of the rules. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Go ahead, please, Chair Gentile.
First item was 272-24, which is Council Loretta Wincalis requesting an increase in the salary of the city clerk. I want to thank Council Humphrey for jumping in and sharing information on this item, since my two heroes, the president and the vice president, were nowhere to be found. So thank you to Council Humphrey. Anyway.
I will accept responsibility for that, Chair Gentile, and thank you, Councilor Humphrey.
We made it through. Anyway, and I messed up, I believe, because I did mention how the item originally docketed was amended, and the CFO explained why, because of the 52 weeks versus 52 point something. but I never asked for an amendment to the item that was approved in programs and services. So just to make sure that there's not an issue, I would like to ask to poll the committee to make it clear that we were voting on $138,776, which was the vote that was taken in programs and services. So if I could poll finance right now to make it clear that that was the item, the dollar amount that we approved earlier, I would appreciate doing that. So all those in favor of that number, please say aye in committee.
Aye.
Are there any opposed or any abstentions? Seeing none, all right, so everyone approved the right amount, and that vote was 8-0. And then the second item was 263-24, which was a request to authorize and to spend and to bond $31,578,632, along with the standard language of dealing with any premiums received, go back into the project so that we bond less. That vote was also approved by a vote of 8-0, and I would move the report.
Thank you, Chair Gentile. And then finally, Chair Danberg for real property reuse.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is no report.
Thank you very much. With that, I'd like to invite my colleagues, Councilor Humphrey, Councilor Greenberg, Mr. Lovett, if you would join us up here on the podium. And I'm going to ask our two honorees who are in the room to step up as well, please. Family, you are welcome to step within the rail and take pictures at any time you like, so feel free to do so. Oh, and I'm sorry, we have our third person, Tenley Hanson's on Zoom, but Tenley is also a participant. Come on up, please. So, Bill, you want to start off? Why don't you say a couple words?
Okay, so we've got on stage with us not only the current year recipients of this scholarship, but also past recipient, Jack Lovett, and I am also a past recipient of this. 15 years ago, the Board of Aldermen was kind enough to give me a scholarship for my political science degree that I was about to start working on at the University of Delaware. Now you're all stuck with me as a consequence. And I think the interesting thing when they asked us to give some brief remarks, which we're about to hear from this year's current recipients, was that I commented there was a lot of dysfunction happening at the time in Washington, and that it was good that there wasn't a lot of that type of disagreement at the local level, and that got a laugh from the people at the time. But I think what's important about these types of opportunities and remarks from the students is often we get to hear what things should be like from the perspective of people that have not become completely jaded and accepted with resignation that nothing's ever going to get better. And so it's always great to hear from the young folks, especially the ones who are engaged in public service, about how the world should be and a better version of our society. And so I'm looking forward to hearing tonight from these young folks. And it was a really exciting set of people that we got to look at in terms of applications. So we'll start with Adrian, if you want to come up and give a little bit of a speech that we've asked you to do.
Hi, my name is Adrian Lirio, and I recently graduated from Newton South High School. I am deeply grateful for this scholarship, which will not only help my goals, but also help my family. At the University of Michigan, I plan to study political science with a minor in Asian studies. This summer, I interned with the Asian American Foundation, where I analyzed data on ANHPI voter engagement and tracked the impact of prominent politicians. During my internship, I also visited the White House and connected with government officials committed to advancing ANHPI representation. In today's climate, I believe in the power of the young people to bridge the gaps and create unity. By embracing our differences and leveraging our strengths, we can build a more inclusive society. Thank you again to the Newton City Council for selecting me.
Thank you so much. We're going to certainly have picture opportunities in a moment. I'm going to ask my colleague, Council Maria Greenberg, to introduce our next recipient.
Our next recipient is Audrey Sanger. We were very impressed with your application and it makes us all very hopeful for our future. So congratulations.
Hello, everyone. My name is Audrey Sanger, and I recently graduated from Newton North High School. First of all, I'd like to thank the Newton City Council for presenting me with this scholarship. Getting involved in local government has always been something that's been slightly intimidating to me, but rewarding ultimately. Growing up, I knew that I lived in a civically engaged city, whether it would be parents at my elementary school handing out election flyers or seeing rallies for candidates in Newtonville. There was always the presence of local politics. When I chose to get involved myself and work as an election worker in the municipal election last November, I learned the importance of young voices in local politics. I remember feeling a bit of nerves set in when I was, who was I, a 17-year-old high school student who couldn't even vote yet, handing ballots to longtime Newton residents. But as I chatted with other election workers, some of whom had been involved in the Newton government for over 30 years, I started to realize that my voice mattered to them just as much as theirs did to me. To me, the future of politics should rely on the collaboration between younger voices and the experience of more seasoned politicians. From that communication, we can learn from each other and create policies that support everyone. Thank you again very much.
Thank you so much. And our third recipient is online, Tenley Hansen. If you'd like to say a few words, please go ahead.
Hi there. Apologies for my absence. I'm currently working at an overnight camp in New Hampshire, so couldn't exactly make the trip down. But my name is Tenley Hansen, and I'm a recent graduate of Newton North High School. I am so honored to have been received this scholarship. Government and civics is really important to me, and it's been important to me since I was in the womb, actually. My mom was Al Gore's campaign manager, so I kind of feel like civics is in my blood. And I initially got involved in 2020 when the climate movement was really happening. And from there, I realized how much of a difference youth voice should make and could make. And since then, I've been working especially with voter registration. That's something I'm extremely passionate about because I know that young people can make a difference. And I've seen how many more young people have been signing up to vote each year. And I'm excited to be making that difference at the University of Wisconsin, where I will be voting in the great state of Wisconsin and participating in politics there. Again, thank you so much to the city councilors and everyone involved in this.
So thank you to all three of our recipients. Not only do you have really stellar achievements, but your words were so impressive right now. And moreover, as Councilor Humphrey said, you're really an inspiration to all of us in the room. Hopefully we're not getting too jaded, at least some of us as we reach an older age. I do know for the record that Councilor Lipoff was especially impressed that Tenley is attending his alma mater. You can have an offline conversation about Wisconsin later on. But we'd certainly like if the families want to come up and take any pictures, please do so if you'd like. And I want to just thank everyone so much. Thank you. Congratulations. So we'll do a group photo, and if you want individual ones as well. Oh. You want to come in? Of course, come on up. Right here. Please step up. Terrific. Good, thank you very much. Good luck. Congratulations. Good luck at school. Pardon? Yeah, do you want me to say something? Thank you, and Tenley, thank you again for joining us this evening. Good luck with the rest of summer. And all of you are welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. There's absolutely no requirement that you do so. So let's let our guests exit the inside the rail here, and then we will go on, and Ms. Moore will call the roll for first call. We're going to immediately go on to second call, and I anticipate we're going to dispose of that item rather rapidly. Ms. Moore, you all set? Go ahead, please.
Counselor Albright. Counselor Baker.
Aye.
Counselor Bixby.
Aye.
Counselor Block. Counselor Danberg.
Aye.
Counselor Downs. Counselor Farrell.
Aye.
Counselor Gentile.
Aye.
Counselor Getz.
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg.
Aye.
Counselor Grossman.
Aye.
Counselor Humphrey.
Aye.
Counselor Kalis.
Aye.
Counselor Kelly.
Aye.
Counselor Krinsman.
Aye.
Counselor Leary.
Aye.
Counselor Lipoff.
Aye.
Counselor Lobovitz. Counselor Lucas.
Aye.
Counselor Maliki.
Aye.
Counselor Mickley.
Aye.
Counselor Oliver.
Aye.
Counselor Wright.
Aye.
President Laredo.
Aye.
Motion carries 21 yeas, 3 absent.
All right, we're going to go on to second call. We have one item on second call. I'm going to recognize the Chair of the Zoning and Planning Committee, Councilor Baker.
Thank you, Mr. President. You all may remember this was an item that was before the committee to amend the zoning to encourage small business development. And there was a conversation we had around an amendment that I had proposed to restore some parking requirements, which were not part of the committee report. That motion failed, but then the item was postponed to this evening. In the meantime, Councilor Albright has been working with the planning department, with whom I've also been working. And there's a memo in the packet to which he can speak more than I can, but it represents what I think is an appropriate opportunity for the council. So I will stand aside for the moment and then maybe be heard on the main item, depending on how we vote on what she may propose.
All right, thank you, Chair Baker. Councilor Albright.
Thank you, Mr. President and Chair Baker. So after the last meeting where there was no concurrence on how to vote on this thing, and I want to remind everybody that this is a zoning amendment and it requires 16 votes to pass. So that it seemed like we needed to work on another compromise that would bring everybody together. And I think that with the help of Zach Lamel from the planning department, I think we found one that's good for the city, good for businesses, good for the village centers. And it mimics the VCOD parking requirement. And it says that if you're a business that's 5,000 square feet or less, you have no parking requirement. And which is in the VCOD, and it makes sense because we're talking about village centers. And if it's larger than that, it reverts back to the amendment for amusements and for incubators that was in the prior amendment. I hope everybody had a chance to read the latest memo that was provided to us by the planning department. So if there was ever a time to not let the perfect be the enemy of the good, I think this is the time. Because this is going to be good for our village centers and good for business. And I hope everybody will vote for this compromise.
So are you proposing?
I'm proposing that we amend it to say, as described in our memo, but essentially it would mean that 5,000 businesses of 5,000 square feet or less would have no parking requirement. And businesses larger than that would have the requirement as described in that memo, which
And that's fine. You've just so we're all clear, there's exact language in the materials that were presented to us. The exact language is what we're going to be voting on. But Counselor Albright has been kind enough to give us essentially an explanation of what that is. Do I have a second for that motion? Seconded by Counselor Baker. Let's see if we can do this in a voice vote. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
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 Oh, thank you. Opposed?
No.
I'm sorry, was that you, Counselor Krinsman?
Yeah.
All right, so all in favor but one for the amendment, so the amendment passes. We now go back to the main item. Is there any discussion on the main item? Counselor Krinsman, did you want to discuss the main item?
Yeah, I'll be very brief.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's foolish for us to be adopting any sort of parking minimums in our zoning ordinance. I understand fully the intent behind this compromise. I get it. I get why folks would want to do it. But I think we just continue to sort of kick the can down the road. So I'm going to be voting against this zoning proposal tonight because, again, I just think it's bad policy for us to be putting parking minimums in our ordinance.
Thank you, Counselor Krinsman. Anyone else wish to be heard on this item? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll? Just so we're clear, we need a 2/3 vote because this is a 16 votes because this is a zoning amendment and it does not affect housing, which would be a majority vote. And if you're voting aye or yay, you're voting in favor of the proposed zoning ordinance as amended through Counselor Albright's amendment. Everyone clear? Go ahead, please.
Counselor Albright,
aye.
Counselor Baker,
Aye.
Counselor Bixby,
Aye.
Counselor Block, Counselor Danberg,
Aye.
Counselor Downs, Counselor Farrell,
Aye.
Counselor Gentile, Counselor Getz,
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg,
Aye.
Counselor Grossman,
Aye.
Counselor Humphrey,
Aye.
Counselor Kalis.
Aye.
Counselor Kelly,
Aye.
Counselor Krinsman,
No.
Counselor Leary,
Aye.
Counselor Lipoff,
Aye.
Counselor Labovitz, Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
Counselor Maliki,
Aye.
Counselor Mickley,
Aye.
Counselor Oliver,
Aye.
Counselor Wright,
Aye.
President Laredo.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Is it close? What was the
28.
tally?
Excuse me?
I was just wondering what the final tally was. It sounded close.
You know, if you're going to make jokes, Counselor Krinsman, we need you in the chamber in person.
Apologies.
All right. Thank you all very much. That is our last item. Do we have a motion to adjourn by Counselor Baker?
A motion to adjourn, Mr.
All right, we are adjourned at 8:14 PM. Please enjoy a restful, at least for most of us, rest of August. And we're going to see everyone in September. Remember that our first meeting is not the Tuesday after Labor Day, but the Wednesday after Labor Day, because we have an election on the Tuesday after Labor Day. All right. Thank you all very much. Have a great evening, and we are adjourned.